Hi friends and neighbors, it's Christine here coming to you with another art activity. And today we'll make a recipe just for a simple salt dough. Salt dough is kind of like a clay or a Play-Doh that you make at home. The neat thing about it is you can put it on a cookie sheet, bake it in the oven, and then it turns nice and hard, and you can decorate it and you can keep it for a long, long time. So you could make something like letters or an animal or a face. You guys decide, you're the artists. But the first step is to make the dough. So here we go. So I actually wrote out my recipe so that I wouldn't get confused.
Here are today's materials to make salt dough. You will need flour, salt, water, a measuring cup, a bowl, and a cookie sheet, preferably lined with parchment paper, but aluminum foil would also work.
When it's all together and we've made our little shapes and put them on our cookie sheet, we can cook them in a 250-degree oven for 2 hours, which is really long. And of course, then we want to let them cool. And let's get started, you guys. So I've got my bowl and I measured this out before. So here's my 1 cup of regular flour. If you only have whole wheat flour at home, that would probably work too. So I'm putting it in, and then I have half a cup of salt, regular old table salt. I'll put that in. I'm gonna just give it a quick stir with my fork. And then the trick with this salt dough I've learned is to add the water a little bit at a time. So you don't wanna just pour the whole thing in, no. Here's what we gotta do. So we're adding just a little bit. And here I've got my 1 cup of water. So maybe I'll add a little bit of it and I'm gonna stir it. It's very thick and lumpy in the beginning and that's fine. So here I can tell, too lumpy. We need more water. So we're gonna add a little bit more. And eventually, just kind of like with homemade Play-Doh, I am going to put my hands into this and smush it around and knead it up and make it into the right consistency. So it's getting close. You can see how it's kind of globbing up. It's very similar to Play-Doh actually, except for that this kind you can bake. Okay, so here I go. I'm gonna add the last of my water. Well, maybe I'll add a little half. That much. Getting ready to get my hands dirty, you guys. This is looking really good. Okay. So it's actually looking kind of watery. So this might be a good time for me to pause on adding water and just smush it together. Okay, so let's see. I'm putting my hands in, you guys. Okay, so it kind of feels like oatmeal or something. It looks good. Although I have to say, I think this may be slightly too much water. Do you see how it's super, super goopy? It needs to be a little bit more thicker, I suppose. Okay, so let's see. So this is a great lesson. I'm doing this, I've done it before, and it didn't turn out quite how I thought. So what I think we actually need to do so that it sticks together to itself is add more flour. So here I go. I'm going to get some more flour. Hang tight. I think I figured it out. The consistency of the dough was a little bit strange, so I added some more flour. And as you can see now, it's sticking to itself, a lot like Play-Doh or bread dough would. So that's what we want. So take it from me, add the water slowly, and if you need to add a little more flour, I gave myself just a little bit of extra flour here. It can help too to put that on the outside of the dough so it's a little bit less sticky. So now we need to decide, what are we gonna do with this dough? So I had a few ideas. First, starting with letters. So I thought, grab a little bit of my dough, roll it out, and what kind of letter could I make? I mean, the first one that I thought of course, was a C for my name. Wait, my C is a little wonky. I might have to start again. Okay. Let's try this. I'm gonna roll it into kind of a wormy shape, a long worm. And then I'm gonna put it on my cookie sheet, on my parchment paper. And there, we've got a kind of strange letter C. There it is. Now, next I was thinking it could be kind of cool to make a little face. Like, I guess I would call it a salt dough buddy. So here I've got just a round piece and I've got a barbecue skewer. You could use anything really, like a toothpick or a pencil could work. And I'm gonna make a face in my little salt dough buddy. Oh my gosh, wait, this is turning out super cute. All right, I'm putting him down. He's a little sticky. Boy, I think his face is gonna be a little smushed. So there we go. So you guys get the idea. So now it's up to you when you make your salt dough to decide what in the world will you make with it. I'd love to see what happens next. So I'm gonna make a few more shapes and ideas here, pop it in the oven, let it cook for 2 hours, and come back and we'll talk about how to decorate these little guys. Another quick thought is that I am using this stick to make patterns inside my salt dough. Boy, is that easy and satisfying. So that's a cool way to add a little bit of texture. I added a little eye on my snaily guy and some little dots on my heart, and I made a cross pattern on this thing. Really fun. Okay, we're back, and it's been a couple of hours. The salt dough has been baked and cooled, and you guys, it is hard as a rock. Remember this little guy? Look at him now. So they're ready to be painted, and I tried a couple before I turned the video back on. I'm so pleased with how they look. I mean, they're interesting without the color, but the color just kind of makes them pop. So in order to paint our salt dough today, I brought out a few really simple supplies, and we have watercolor, and of course a substitute is food coloring or liquid watercolor. These are sort of my standby supplies, you've noticed, I'm sure. And if you have Sharpies and it's okay with your parents that you use them, we can use those as well. And for those of you that have been in my classes in person, you know I almost always say, draw first, then paint. That's what I did on this one, for example. So I made sort of some detailed marks with the Sharpie and then added color. So that's what I'm going to do now. And this is kind of the best part to me because I love color and I love mixing color and I love trying out different techniques. So I think I'm gonna start with my snail. What a cutie. All right, here we go. So this is how my salt dough project turned out. I just love them, you guys. They're colorful, they're happy, and I can't help but think they'd make a wonderful gift for someone or for yourself. Happy making, more coming soon from me to you. Love and hugs.